We are here for our Samhain ceremony today. I'm Eden Amadora, and we are going to dive deep into the mystery together and have some fun. Oh, I knew that might happen. So here we are. That means it's working at least. Last week it did not work. So welcome to those who are catching this also on YouTube Live and Facebook. It's so fun to see some dear ones I know and recognize and love in the little windows above. Welcome, Scott. Good to see you, brother. And if you want to share where you're beaming in from and even a word like what you're feeling, what you're coming with today, it helps us feel the web of light, the community around the world, this global community. So beautiful to feel you. And for those who are on Facebook and catching it real time, if you want to come and participate, my assistant's going to drop the link to the Zoom or to sign up and hop in the Zoom in the comments below. Same with YouTube. So all our friends in different time zones, if you catch this later, please feel free to still share, participate on the YouTube Live or the Facebook Live comments, because I will see what you write. We have friends joining. Oh, hello, Cynthia. Good to see you, sister. Right here near me in San Rafael, California. Carol from Rhode Island is ready to relax and enjoy this wonderful ceremony. Oh, Mishar, feeling your powerful sovereignty and heartfelt gratitude. Good to feel you, brother. Nina from Canada, welcome. Welcome, Ellen, also in California, and Carmichael, good to see you. Yeah, just feeling each other. And, some of us are, oh, Alexis, you're all the way over in Minnesota. I just saw you Saturday here in my home temple in Novato. That's right. Now I'm placing you in space. Wonderful. April from Long Island, Rick zooming in from north of Pittsburgh, feeling centered and going deeper. Beautiful to feel that energy. Metanoia, that's a cool name, from Missouri. Beautiful. And, we'll just keep welcoming our friends, even if we've dove into the mystery and more of the ceremony. I'm going to give a little bit of a map, because even though this is going to be held as a ceremony, it's also a bit of a class, a bit of a informational, fun dive into why we gather today. What is this all about? And so we're going to start with more of the masterclass for our minds that like to know what's so special about this time of year. What's so special about this arc of a few days right now that we're in this portal. So both Alexa, I'm going to introduce you to Alexis. Come with me and I'll pop you in so you can see. This is let me see how I do it. Add spotlight. Here we are. Hi, Alexis. We're going to be sharing with you about what this portal of Samhain is all about, and how our ancestors from all around the world worked with the energies of this time of year so that we can tap in to this powerful turn of the wheel. Alexis, I think it'd be cool to show them the greater turn of the wheel so we can kind of orient ourselves. So you want to say hi, and then I'll pop you out and make myself bigger again.
Sure. Hi. Thank you for having me here today with you.
Yay. Okay, good to see you. And we'll come right back in a second. I'm going to show those who are not so familiar, and even those who are, because I've been doing these turn of the wheel events for years now, and I still am orienting to the ancient Celtic names, the pagan names. And here's a cool image to take in. So at fall equinox, we were right here, and it's called Mabon. And Mabon is this great harvest ceremony. This is where light and dark are equal. And now we turn the wheel into the darker half of the year. So from here, all the way over to Ostara in the spring, where all the bunnies come out, this is called the dark half in the northern hemisphere. And we are at the exact center point between fall equinox and Yule, which is winter solstice. And here we are with our pumpkins and our witchy cauldron in Samhain, even though it looks like Samhain, it's an ancient Irish Celtic word for summer's end. Samhain, summer's end. So this is where we sit in the greater turning of the seasons of the relationship between earth and sun. So many cultures around the world, as you know, have celebrated the equinoxes and the solstices for millennia. And Samhain, like some of the other holidays that lie on these axes, maybe don't show those exact solar apex moments, but they are still very potent times to honor the harvests, to honor the cycles, and how we work with earth and nature in our humanity, to honor that. So wonderful to share that with you. And Alexis, is there anything else you would chime in now in this phase where we can take them a little deeper into what we're doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say this is a time that was celebrated not only by the Celtic tradition, but by many different cultures all over the world. And so, I mean, I don't know if this is the time you intended, but I could talk to you about a few different cultures that
Yeah,
of
why
what
don't you
they're
tell us
doing.
about some of the names of the other holidays that fall in the same portal and those cultures and a little bit about what they would do?
Sure. So first, with the my understanding of what happens at this time in the Celtic culture was that this was the day that the cattle would be slaughtered. So they drive them down and they're all fattened up after the whole year. And so that is part of why this is such a death portal at this time is because this is actually this time of slaughter. And likewise, in the pagans that are of the Norse tradition, this was also this time when their holiday at this time was called Alfarblot, and it was more of a insular kind of secretive ceremony that they would hold only within their family. And the ideal with that culture was they were actually doing this sacrifice to the Alfar, which is the elves, and they held the elves as their ancestors. So in the Norse tradition, this was this time where they're honoring their ancestors with this death and sacrifice time. And then likewise, this is this time where in Latin America, it's this time of Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertes. And that was, yes, I mean, I've always thought that that was a time that was probably brought over with the Spanish when they came over. But actually, the Aztecs were having a hunting ceremony at this time of year already. Plus, they had their time to honor the goddess of death, and her name is Mictecacewatl. And so they've sort of merged that together now into part of the Day of the Dead and also to honor her at the same time. And even in Christianity, this is this time of All Hallows Eve or of All Saints Day, which is again honoring the dead, the ancestors, and also those that we hold sacred that have passed. So it yeah. Oh, and the other one to mention, I guess, is also that in the Hindu tradition, this is Diwali. So this is this festival of light. So in some way, they're really celebrating the triumph of the light over the dark. So even though the light is going into the dark right now, it's like recognizing that the light wins in the end, and that it's really this time of just yeah, making sure everybody has a strong remembrance of that at this time. So
Thank you. It's beautiful to feel it all over the world in these different cultures. And I'm just aware that in the Northern Hemisphere, this time of death is when the fields go fallow too. It's like that song, we all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return. And the second verse is like, hoof and horn, hoof and horn, all that dies will be reborn. Corn and grain, corn and grain, all that dies will rise again. So it's honoring cycles in the divine feminine. We honor this cycle in the greater wheel. That's why we're working in wheels and spirals and cycles. And the trust that if we honor the unseen realms, if we honor life and the elves and our ancestors and our star kindreds, and we are ceremonial, that will be held in a good way through the winter, through the coldness and the darkness and the fallowness of winter. So it is a time of trust and a fire ceremony where the bonfires were lit bright and people gathered all through the night. This is the last of the fire ceremonies, and it's also known as Witches' New Year. So I wanted to talk, especially with Alexis, but you all can drop what you're feeling in the chat too. Because let's talk about witches. You know, they're fun. Little girls like to dress up like witches on Halloween. And we have a very dark and bloody history not so long ago, 300, 400 years ago, during the Great Reformation. Did you know that 50 to 80,000 people, 80% of them women, were murdered for being witches?
Wow.
Yeah. So we're talking about some deep, dark paranoia and ignorance and programming that could have created such a dark wave of insanity on the planet not that long ago. The fear of the unknown, the fear that is sometimes religious imprinting and programming, and the othering. So witches back in the Reformation were seen as anyone who bewitched you. Boy, talk about blame. I didn't do it of my own free will. She made me do it. And getting off the hook pretty fast and hard there, right?
Wow.
So yeah, let's take a deep breath and just feel the insanity of that. The fear that would project, they are worshiping the devil. They are different. They must be stopped or killed because they were either the midwives, the herbalists, the seers, the oracles, the wise women, Wiccan ones that perhaps had brought the old ways through from the Celtic roots, from the Druids.
Right.
The bloodiest place of all during the Reformation was Scotland. And we know it's rich with Druidic history, with that, you know, connection to the Fae folk and the old ways and rituals. So I just want to open that up if any of you are carrying a witch wound, if you're afraid to show your magic, if you have felt persecuted for your weirdness, where weird really means able to move fluidly through time and consciousness, and magic is changing consciousness at will. If you're a seer, an oracle, an herbalist, a crystal being that knows the powers of crystals, people might call you a witch. Alexis, would you speak freely about your experience? I know for sure that you've had experiences with people who identify as being a witch, and that you might even have found that as part of your identity. And it's not about people doing hexes and curses and spells on other people at all. So
Right.
what would you share?
Yeah, for me, like, I mean, I have certainly held a witch initiation on Halloween many, many times with my friends. And at first, we kind of did it very playfully, right? And it was just, but the more that I have gotten into feeling into my magic, and the more that I've really intended to live in my magic all the time, the more that I've allowed myself to identify as that. And would I really call myself a witch as like the way that I I mean, that's really what other people call you as a magical being, sort of. But I just like to own it and just like, am I a witch? Sure, I'm a witch. I mean, have people in my family and friends that don't necessarily feel comfortable with magic called me a witch? Yes, absolutely. And my response to that is just grab the broom and start to dance around. I mean,
Here we have
but
our traditional kind of from even the Wizard of Oz, the witch
right,
is
the
like
Wicked
the Wicked
Witch.
Witch.
The Wicked
Right.
Witch, totally. And I mean, that's just such a, I mean, the witch is actually, I learned this year, it's the most popular adult Halloween costume is to dress as a witch. So I personally feel like this way that many people at this time of year want to just dip their toe in the water of feeling into this sense of the magic of this time. And for me, I just want to open the invitation that this is a way you can live all the time, and it doesn't just have to be something at Halloween. You can really be a magical being.
I'm going to read some of the comments because there's a lot of people here, and I'm sure more beaming in on Facebook and YouTube Live that are resonating with this. They've either healed the witch wound. Ellen says witches were the medicine women, the midwives, the healers. Exactly. And Rick says, cunning folk. Oh, I think that's about shooting someone else and blaming them when three fingers point back at you for your
Mm-hmm.
sins, which just means missing the mark. When people are in fear and othering, blame someone else. Yes, walkers between the worlds, says Rick. Aho. Nina says, I relate to the witch wound. My own family, led by my own mother, has ostracized me and tried to sabotage my life purpose. A lot of times, and just holding you in that vulnerable share, a lot of times our own families are actually like so religiously imprinted. It's like, forgive them, they know not what they do.
Yeah.
It's the water they've been programmed in. And from fear, often, stay in the tribe, stay safe, don't be different, and you'll be okay. I can see some people nodding and
Yeah.
resonating with that.
I
And
mean, for me with that, even it's been that I've changed so much and come so much into my power through really identifying with this work that I am no longer so easily controlled as I was before, especially by my family or by other people who would exert control over me. And so then there's this way that they try to use shame to call me a witch, to make it so that it's a negative thing that I am now sovereign being. So I can relate to it a lot.
Cynthia
Yeah.
says, I'm a good witch and I have overcome the witch wound. Really
Mm.
witnessing you and just celebrating that when we're willing to walk bright, walk in our sensitivity, walk in our gifts. And, I was taking a walk through my neighborhood and it's all ghouls and creepy monsters right now, a day before Halloween. And we'll get a little more into that. Like, I'm like, what is going on? But I was walking and I was thinking, I wear funny pointy hats and I do ritual all the time. And I bet half of these neighbors would probably think I'm pretty witchy. Even when I do Qigong and yoga in the neighborhood park, I've had some really wild comments. It's like fear of the unknown. How could
Mm.
you be so free? How could you be so wild, so weird?
Mm-hmm.
So Omashar says, I think at some level, we all have that reticence to shine our truth into the world, perhaps old programming from this past ignorance. Aho, exactly. Yeah, so there's a lot of people resonating with this. Carol tells me, Eden, you would be Glinda, the good witch from The Wizard of Oz. Thank you. I remember that scene when Glinda finds Dorothy and she says, well, are you a good witch or a bad witch? And Dorothy says, oh, I'm not a witch at all. And I was thinking about that. The good bad polarity drama, the splitting, the black and white, making people right, wrong. Do you remember this saying? It's a famous Native American saying about, do you feed the dark wolf or the light wolf? Right? It's like, are you feeding the part of you that is in fear and separation and othering, sure, there may be some people that resonate with being a witch that are not heart-centered, that are not in love, that are feeling jealousy or rage or blame, and they might try to use some incantation or spell against another. But truly, I think like the very, very, very high percentage of women that I've met, pretty much all in my circle, that would identify as Wiccan or magical or witches, they are here for the awakening of humanity. They are here for the health and harmony of Earth and all of us living in more honoring. And if they're doing any spells or they're invoking, like we will, we're going to invoke the elements, it is for, I would say, the blessing and benefit of all. So these invocations, just for your heart to feel, yes, we might be in a little bit of a witchy ceremony today, and it is for the blessing and the benefit of all.
Yeah.
And Cynthia's saying, this gives me permission to try on the archetype of the witch. Yes. I honestly, I know, Alexis, you resonate a little bit more. You've been to witch camp, you've learned rituals. I resonate a bit more with the, like, you know, how anything we put after the words I am, dot, 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 it's just identities we play with, like masks we try on for a little while, or maybe it really resonates. I don't resonate as much with telling people or calling myself a witch. I resonate a little bit more with the priestess archetype. I remember my daughter, she's grown now. She came back from college and she said, Mom, I'm a lot more like you than I would like to admit. But where you're like the solar celestial priestess, I'm more of a lunar sorceress. Whatever floats your boat, whatever you resonate with. Tonisha said that Dr. Ray Owens from Facebook said, yes, the tribe of Owen in Scotland, Druid roots. Welcome, welcome. Yes, so many of the wise ones that were persecuted came up through that Druid tradition that worked with the ancestors, the elementals, the land spirits. And then with the Holy Roman Empire spreading into the power of religious oppression, boy, did things get twisted.
Yeah.
Joyce from YouTube says, let's hear it for the witches. Barry from Facebook said, thank you for connecting your history to this time of year. Ironic how there are parallels today. Let's actually talk about that for a second. Ignorance often breeds fear and hatred. It really goes hand in hand. And I was marveling about how quickly we may separate if we see an image of a celebrity doing a hand gesture and then put them in the camp of devil worshipers. As someone who is creating music that I'd love to share on a larger scale with the world and will be doing that, I thought about how many times I'm on video doing things like this and all these, you know, mudras that are super high frequency. They're from yogic Indian kriyas that predate Christianity by 1,000 years or more. They're very powerful yogic tools. So the ignorance with which people separate is something to really take a deep breath when it hits your screen and really question. That pop singer is now being like pretty much kind of publicly hung as a witch on trial by being slandered, which is the ultimate form of black magic, all across the web. So let us be the antidote to that through recognizing different cultural influences, different practices, and letting people be in their practices without our projections. I see some ahos and little hand clappings all up on the thing. So sweet. I'm reading some, Rick says this is a very, very powerful time, 39-year anniversary of an initiation under the full moon on All Hallows Eve, a blessing of discovering someone who was also initiated under that moon. Powerful. So, Terry says, between past lives as a persecuted witch and a current healer who's been scoffed at in New England with a seriously bad situation when I first moved here in 1999, it's gotten better and I can relate. Many can relate. And Cynthia says, yes, we spell cast as blessings. So I didn't plan to go this deep down the rabbit hole on the witch thing, but it's pretty juicy. Let's just speak for a moment about spells and spelling.
Mm.
Yeah. So Alexis, what, even through the Weaver Dreamer archetype in our priestess training, what can you share about spells that you've come to recognize in your life?
Um, well, I first of all, I love the way that you always break these words down and to really break it down into what the pieces of the word are and what that means when you're saying it. And that I have like an ongoing list of these Edenisms of the way that she has all of these words and the way it means this or that. So, but I can just really feel how the words that you put out are what you're bringing into being in the world. So as you are spelling out the words, you are spelling. So you are actually creating the world that you will see in front of you with your words. So I found that to be true, especially when I'm in a really challenging place and it's hard and I'm feeling so just and I want to talk about how challenging it is, and then it actually gets harder because all I'm doing is telling this story about how much everything sucks, and it doesn't help at all. It really doesn't help. So I've been learning that when I talk more about my feelings when I'm in that place and I'm really just sharing from this more of the more of a witness place, and also just more of my sharing my experience rather than my judgment of the circumstance, that I am able to navigate it much more smoothly and also find more support from the people around me at the same time. So
Beautiful awareness, really witnessing this as this breakthrough and radical responsibility for our myth making, our storytelling, and how we enroll others into those stories very quickly in that shared reality. We are so creative, so powerful. I have lots of great comments. We're gonna dive into the ceremonial part of this call soon, but I do want to honor. Thank you for being so participatory. It's one of my favorite things about these calls. So Nina is saying, I resonate more with the name goddess. Yes, we are her, we are she, we are the body of the goddess, and she's living through us. And to recognize that in both male and female form. I don't usually call myself a goddess, and I practice goddess embodiment all the time. It's like different archetypes that come through us. Carol says, I do not relate to the witch costume or even the word witch, but to the healing arts. And many, many do as well. Blessed be that. Alicia says, deep witch wounds, slowly overcoming fear of being seen and using my voice, fear that I will be harmed. Thank you for speaking that, sister. It is a big wound, especially in the collective feminine, that if we're that vocal, if we're that outspoken, or if we share our magic, our gifts, or our seeing, we'll be burned at the stake for it. It's almost in our cellular memory, like the scars that we carry through lifetimes of, is it safe to be big, bright,
right.
powerful, magical?
Or like, well, we won't be taken seriously in all of these other ways in the world if we let ourselves be seen in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joanna says she has a strong connection with Baba Yaga, but it's too long of a story here. Maybe one day we'll hear your Baba Yaga story. She's such a fun character with her little chicken leg house. Oh, Terry says, at least my family and friends are accepting of me. And she is confirming, yes, we do spells. We do spells for good. Blessed be. Scott says it's tragic, the level of xenophobia that's being promoted. Yeah. And we, as the awakening world, since you're here, Scott, we'll just use that. We are that. It is our responsibility to stay neutral And when we hear a friend or a family member that is spell casting or doing, I would call it the highest or the most like nasty form of black magic is gossip and slander and speaking very, very poorly of someone who's not present. And our system fuels that. Our political system fuels that. So for us to take a step back and not contribute to those pendulums, to those energy dynamics, swinging, good side, bad side, we, them, if we can stay in the heart and in unity consciousness, we are the antidote to that. Terry says madras, mudras, I think you're saying mudras, yeah, are great. However, some celebrities do weird gestures that are a little suspect. Yes, and who knows what their intentions are, and they should be allowed to answer. Yeah, Nina's like mudras are very sacred and powerful. They contain energy and they send energy. And I mean, we can practice some very wonderful mudras today I'm going to do a very brief but powerful meditation when we step into our ceremonial time. Beautiful. We're going to need to wrap up soon. Carol, that's such a long share. I really want to honor that. And we are honoring people's time here too. Yes. So we're going to move a little deeper into.
Can I say one thing before we
Yes,
go
of
on?
course.
I just want to say that for me, it's been really, really helpful to have a group around this. And I mean, if you're a witch, you might call it a coven, but you might just call it a circle. And it's kind of what we're doing right now. And so just to have other people that I am seen and held in my magic with, and also just to practice with, means the world. And so I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to be here, for this work to devote myself to. And I do really hold all of these circles that I've had with you, Eden, and with this 13 Moon community have been so valuable in this way. So I just want to make sure
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. There is a very, very beautiful thing that happens when we gather in a high frequency and in an unconditionally loving, compassionate space. It's like the energy we may have been carrying where we feel alone in our suffering or our magic even can dissolve the barriers to love and dissolve the shields to the heart to feel the unity that we have. And I know that it's also an acceleration, like a quantum leap of healing that then allows us to step into our gifts more. And on that note, Alexis, I feel like I should invite Tonisha to already share that Tonisha is going to share a link for you if you are called to the magical arts, to learning practical magical skills, which when we break it down, it's not that magical. It is inner alchemy and it is super empowering and might appear magical. I know people ask me all the time, how are you so psychic? How are you so telepathic? When the heart opens, it's the master switch to all of our channels of perception. And in the training that I offer, the priestess training, we open those channels and we become more and more masterful at larger pattern overview. So when you're good at tracking patterns in consciousness and in yourself, it frees you and it assists others. So Tonisha just popped into the chat and she's going to pop it onto the YouTube live comments and or the background thing when you click into it, and the Facebook live comments, the same link for people to check out. So this is our wait list for our year-long training, the Mysterium. And as you express a sincere desire to do this work, it's not for everyone. I'm going to get real with you. It will bring up stuff, intense stuff to feel, and you will change. You will change, and change is inevitable. So this is for those who are ready for that level of deep soul work. And there will be an application and an interview, but you can get on the list. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Scott. Touched my heart. Yeah, one more word about this wild time of year. Again, when I was walking in the neighborhood, I was looking at all the macabre horror and ghouls and bloody this and axes and violent things. And I was like, wow, we humans are really obsessed with horror. We're really pretty afraid of the unknown and death, and we're quite obsessed with horror. I remember one day I was walking down a block in a neighboring town here that had a big cinema with many, many rooms, many different movies playing at once. And every poster on the outside of that big cement building was pretty much the same color tone. It was like red and black and gray. And one after the other was slash and gash, scream fest, murder, horror, chills, and fear mongering. Every single poster. And I was like, what are we doing to ourselves? This is really intense. People paying money to get the bejesus scared out of them over and over. And so I was feeling into my own journey with that as a sensitive person, a very sensitive person. Years ago when I was in Brazil, I was working with grandmother ayahuasca, the plant medicine, the tea that really can help purify your psyche and your body. And in a ceremony, a wave of fear came over me when I heard the song Dust in the Wind. And I thought, I didn't like the way the guy was singing it, his vibrato and his high little voice. And I was really in resistance. And then I realized, no, it's the lyrics about the meaninglessness. My ego revolted. I was like, no, I'm enlightened now with this ayahuasca. I could write the book. And I was feeling all this attachment to this being seen as something amazing. And then the song was like, it doesn't matter. We're just dust in the wind. And then I thought, oh my God, the horror. And one after the other images of what I had taken in since childhood of horror started to come up. And I got well for quite a while, seeing one scary mask face, robot thing, clown, slasher image after the other, because we are bombarded with horror. And we are all very sensitive beings. We are all divine children, innocent, pure beings when we come in from beyond the veil. I mean, some might argue past life karma, blah, blah, blah. I think give them a reset and love that baby. Love that baby. Everybody's worthy of that, no matter how many rounds we've gone around the sun. May nothing be done to harm the children. So I don't watch horror movies anymore. And I did want to say that, even though I'm a bit of a party pooper around Halloween, because I don't do the ghouls in my yard. And I don't like giving, white sugar candy death to people either. So, I can see you laughing, Terry, but it's true. How many times do we go right into cold and flu season after Halloween? Well, yeah, everybody's like ODing on sugar. And it's like the worst thing for your immune system.
Can I
So,
mention something about
yeah.
the trick-or-treating? So my understanding of the origin of trick-or-treating is that it was an offering that was placed outside of the home that was like a token of the harvest for the spirits outside, for them to do no harm to this home in this time of year when the weather can be really intense, essentially. And so that these treats put outside were an offering of, like, please take good care of my house.
Oh, isn't that a higher octave of like ritual to do this time of year instead of like giving nasty, nasty candy to sweet little innocent children who are getting so jaded and numbed by all the violence on the television and all the horror in the Halloween scene? It's the programming. So we're lifting the veil in a very loving way. All right, beloveds. This was our spiritual masterclass and deepening around what this time of year is all about. Now we're going to dive into the ceremonial aspect. So let's all take a deep breath. Put a hand on your heart. And I do want to ask, For those who've called in the directions with me before, if you wish to share in this part of our ceremony, perhaps Cynthia would be wonderful. Alicia, if you are willing, maybe you want to call in a direction. And anyone else that is here that has done this with me before that is feeling the spirit and connected. Alexis, can you pop the elements that we connect to the directions into the chat so that others can participate? You know, different traditions might face a direction and call in a different element. This is from the 13 Moon Mystery Schools tradition, and really honoring our fairy goddess mother on this magical day, Ariel Spilsbury, who brought so much joy and magic into my life. Are we ready to begin the ceremony? If you wish to call in a direction, please raise your hand. And if you're not sure how to raise your hand, you can scroll down to the reaction bar and there's a little arrow, or you click it and it has a little raise hand icon. And otherwise, Alexis and I will do it if I don't see any. Alexis, track for any hands that pop up. And otherwise, we will begin. All right, so deep, deep breath. Let's close our eyes together. Feeling ourselves coming into the space first behind the hand of light on our heart chakra. You can give it a little spiral and see yourself standing first in the center of a wheel, like a Native American prayer wheel, a solar cross, a balanced wheel representing the directions. Let us etherically turn and face the east, the place of the rising sun, the new dawn, the golden light. And as we turn our hearts and our minds towards the east gate, we honor this newness, this fresh breath of air, deep breath. We honor the winds of change as we invoke the elemental angel of air, the element of air that purifies our mental body, that blows away the dross, the stagnation, the depression, the old grief and sorrow that hides in our lungs, feeling our lungs like the wings of the heart. Deep, deep breath. Opening the wings of the heart to bring in more joy, more spontaneity, more levity, more inspiration. Recognizing the same word for spirit in Aramaic is the word for breath. We breathe in this breath and we honor the east and the element of air. Hail and welcome, east. Welcome, air. And I'm going to ring my bowl to honor the direction. Beautiful. Alexis, will you turn us to face the south, or excuse me, east to south? Yes, we do. We go that way.
Yes. Etherically, we turn to face the south. I call to the south and invoke the element of fire, calling in the energy of the noonday sun, feeling the fire that lives inside of our bodies, the fire of our passion, the fire, the spark of inspiration, the fire of our digestion in not only our belly, but every single mitochondria in every cell. May the fires burn away all that no longer serves with discernment, feeling ourselves on this day of ritual in the fire at the end of the harvest. Hail and welcome, south, welcome fire.
Hail, welcome south, welcome fire. JL, would you like to call in the earth? I'm going to unmute. Let me see if I can unmute. Oh, where are you? Are you still in your little video view? There he is. Okay. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hi, I'd like to call in the earth, the life-giving earth, the grounding earth, the earth that tells all the stories of time, the earth that we hold sacred, that helps us grow our food, that grounds us in these uncertain times. The earth that's the constant beneath our feet and what allows us to move to the higher planes in a grounded way. In that way, I call in the blessed and spirited earth.
Aho, hail and welcome, Earth. Welcome to the North. Thank you. Terry, would you like to call in the West, beloved? Let's see. The West is the waters, so I would love you to call in the water.
I was asking, was that west? That was north. Okay,
Yeah, we skipped it because I was going down the chat and I'm like, someone's calling the Earth. Good.
that's fine.
But
So
okay.
west, got it. Okay, west. All right, the west is one of my favorites because of the sunshine. Okay, I call in the west. I love the west. I love the sunshine. I love the water. We all are 85% water, something like that. The water is healing. It's our ethereal etheric level. I call in the West for healing and love and peace. Thank you, West.
Hail, hail and welcome West. Welcome water. Blessed be. Christina, it's looking like you are here and want to call in a direction, but if I can't see you in the video, I don't know how to unmute you. Let's see if I can find you. Do you want to call in the center? Let me see. Is Christina still here? Alexis, do you see her? I cannot find you. Okay, I didn't get what direction she wanted to call in. Are you going to call in a direction, Ray? Would you like to call in the center? Because you're unmuted. It's the ether that we call in the center.
Hey there. Got a pal.
Okay, I'm going to ask that everybody mute themselves again because we're getting a little bit. Okay, let's start like this. I'll mute everybody one more time. And then if you want to call in a direction, you can put it in the chat. We have the center still, but I'm thinking Christina's driving. Okay, so I'm going to do it. Let's come into center. Everyone back into the center of the heart. Deep breath. Into the center of the wheel, we spiral. Deep into the singularity in the heart, where it said we took form inside the womb. Our soul enters through the heart. And here, the Sipapu, as the Hopis speak of, is the place we enter into our multidimensionality through the portal of the Sacred Heart. Here we honor the unseen realm of the ancestors, of our star kindreds, of the angelic ones, the ascended ones. And here we honor the great mystery, great spirit, the archetypes. We give thanks for this day to gather. We give thanks for the magic that is here as we step through the center of our own hearts into the mystery. Hail, welcome center, welcome ether. Blessed be. So as we step through the center of the wheel into this etheric temple, we're going to invite you to step through a gateway.
I am the gateway of empty presence. What will you let go at my gateway so that you may enter this temple truly empty? Please use the chat. Let me know what you're laying down at this gateway. What do you need to leave behind so that you can be empty in your presence here and now? Omashar is leaving behind all programming, past and present. April is leaving grief. Carol leaves behind fear. As you're placing this down, I invite you to feel for yourself, are you truly leaving this behind, or is this something that you are placing on the altar for transmutation in this circle today? Just feel. Carol is leaving behind anger and frustration. Witnessing you.
And as we ring the Tibetan bowl, we are transmuting it for the one. This is collective work. It's medicine for all as we name our peace. Thank you.
Terry leaves behind worry. June is releasing the past. Therese lays down taking anything personally. Ellen is laying down all insecurities and vanity. Alicia lays down anxiety and fear. Witnessing you. Christina is leaving behind busyness and that which keeps her out of the present moment. Seeing you laying this down. Is that JL? JL is leaving, maybe Jim is I think what it says, is leaving behind fear. Lynn and Leaf are leaving behind resentment. Metanoia says, I am placing down uncertainty and grief. Witnessing you. Cynthia says, I lay down all worries of stepping into the unknown, all doubts that keep me small, all baggage and attachments that hold me back, releasing for my family and ancestors. Scott is leaving behind any form of scarcity. Dustin from Facebook is leaving behind fear of commitment to my higher purpose. Witnessing you. Nina leaves behind hiding from my life purpose. And if you're watching this on the replay, I invite you to speak it out loud. What are you leaving behind right now? We ring the bowl for you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Alexis. And for those watching on Facebook and YouTube, you can also post it in the comments. You can tell us so we can honor it in timelessness. As the veils are thin and time is stretchy and bendy, you are with us now. So let us come inward for a very short moment where we're going to enter in. First, actually, I'm going to show you a very fun background that you can imagine that we're entering into this bonfire festival, this season of burning that which no longer serves us, deeply transmuting it in love. And here we go. I'm going to invite that we use mudras consciously, raising our right hand like a blade of light and lighting it like a bonfire light, and then cupping our left hand like a cauldron where we put that witchy brew to transmute, and bringing that cupped left hand down under our navel. You can close your eyes and just sit with your spine like that sword of light, like that upward facing right forearm and hand, and feel both energies coming into balance, this cauldron of your belly and this bright bonfire light, keeping you alert and here. And now reaching up slowly with the right, the tip of the middle finger comes up above the crown to a chakra that is outside of our physical body, the soul star. And as if you could tap in to the solar light that is dimming into this winter time, to the dark turn of the wheel, and just to lift your heart bright in trust, in love, in gratitude for all that you have harvested throughout the bright months. And bringing that hand of light down from the soul star, feeling that you are calling all parts of yourself from all timelines that serve this ceremony into this body. In the Native American twisted hair tradition, they have a word, tahila she. They call in all parts. They believe there's up to 9 that are concurrent, bringing your hand of light in front of your third eye, awakening the eye that sees beyond the veil. Perhaps it sees the Fae or benevolent ancestors here today. The eye that sees beauty that surrounds, the eye that recognizes unity and witnesses larger patterns in the great web. We awaken this eye that we may see clearly and bring this light here through us. And the hand of light scrolls down from the third eye. The chin drops slightly as the fingertips come to about lip or chin level, and just opening the base of the skull, the back of the throat first, listening beyond the veil, the whisper of the Fae, of the elves, of the ancestors, of those who are here to teach us of the old ways, to honor, to give their gifts, to receive their guidance. We welcome you who are here for our highest good and awakening. We listen and we lift our chin and we activate this channel of our throats that we may transmit in clear seeing and clear listening as a mouthpiece of the truth, of the light, of the goddess of love, that our words cohere and unify and reveal beauty. Awakening the higher octave of the power of our manifestation and the spells we spell. Deep breath as the hand of light comes down to the high heart, awakening the keys, the codes, the remembrance of our many lives as a magical being, as one who walks with sensitivity, receiving the remembrance of our gifts more fully, that we may share them in this timeline, in this lifetime. And the hand of light comes to the center of our sacred heart and the center of our chest, and we awaken this place and light a holy bonfire here. Deep breath, feel it blazing brighter. And from the hand below that's been holding the cauldron energy, the receptive energy, We feel this receptive energy rising up as the hand below comes to meet this blazing bright bonfire light, and our two hands come together, the above and the below. And putting the base of our hands together, let us connect our pinky tips and thumbs and feel that bonfire light as if it's emerging from this Padma mudra, the lotus of our hearts. And feel what you are placing in this bonfire for transmutation. We'll come back to this later, but for now, if there's an image or a feeling or a prayer that you can bring personally to this bonfire, knowing that your sacred heart is a portal beyond dimensions and that all things are possible in this kind of love that moves through from the highest octaves of divine love into you, that anything is possible here. So placing for transmutation into this bonfire, we invoke the sacred element of fire again to sanctify our spirit as the veils are thin, that we brighten our lives and we allow those benevolent forces to assist us now and evermore. Pressing our hands of light together at the heart in this mudra of gratitude, this namaste mudra. A grateful open heart is a dimensional doorway. And then we take these two hands of light and we flip them downward and let them open over our solar plexus. And leaning back, just feeling this personal empowerment you offer yourself, this embodiment of sovereignty, becoming the myth maker of your own magical waking dream. Here in the core stability, that you're not easily wobbled. We invoke greater responsiveness, the transmutation of reactivity, transmutation of power struggles into responsive flow, deep empathy. And our hands of light move down and bless our bellies, every cell, every molecule. In the East, they know it's like a greater mind, this connection between our bellies and our consciousness, bringing our hands of light into a downward triangle. Thumb tips and four fingertips connect under the navel. In this watery chakra of the subconscious mind, we bring in all that we have touched to take root like the lotus roots through the water from our heart, and to breathe it deeper down through the waters of the unknown, the waters that flow in our emotional body, purify our consciousness so that our subconscious is catching up to this greater intention, this greater prayer we're establishing. Deep breath as the energy now moves all the way down to the root, softening the tail, the perineum. Any pre-programmed, conditioned fear, fight and flight tendencies here, especially with all the ghouls in the neighborhood. Let us just walk with humor and love, our feet kissing the earth as we walk in beauty. Feel the energy from the root moving through the hips and down the legs, past the knees and lower legs, opening the channels of the feet. And then below what we're sitting on, below our feet, the Earth Star Chakra. For our ancestors, for the collective, we do this great work. We root down this grace, this light, this prayer. We open our hands like soft lotus blossoms on our lap and feel the vertical axis deeply traveling down, 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 easefully, gracefully down to connect to the heart star of Gaia. Deep breath. For all Gaia's children and future generations, 7 generations deep, in this time of dire beauty, chaos, apparent division, may we walk in love and unity. May we remember who we truly are. And coming back up from the center of Mama Gaia, back up to your root with a deep breath. Feel the support. Feel us all here together. We are creating a web of light, a grid of light. And we raise our hands of light one more time back to the heart in that Namaste mudra of gratitude, with that bonfire light burning bright. Very gently, very slowly, we lower our hands and we open our eyes. I bow to you. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I am going to transmit this Samhain invocation for us to feel into. Samhain, Samhain, summer's end. Samhain, Samhain, the veil is thin. Samhain, Samhain, spirit friends, spirit in light, spirit in sound, spirit within, spirit all around. We welcome those benevolent ones from beyond the veil. So Alexis, take us deeper into the ceremony.
Thank you. So tonight is a night to call out those who came before. Tonight we're here to honor our ancestors. Spirits of our fathers and mothers, we call to you and welcome you to join us for this rite. So now that we've already dropped in, I invite you to really come back. I'm going to take you on a journey of communion with our ancestors. So with this, I invite you to close your eyes once again and just take a moment to really get settled into your space. We've navigated the chakras of our bodies with mudras and presence. And I invite you right now to bring your attention to your belly once again. Today we are gathering under the light of the very waning crescent moon. On the night of Hallows, it will be the night of the new moon, a full darkness, the death of the moon. So I invite you to breathe in resonance with the moon. Inhale and feel the energy of the waxing moon growing and growing with your inhale of your belly. And as you exhale, I invite you to feel into the energy of the waning moon, waning and waning. Back and forth, inhale. You can breathe at your own count, just every inhale, feeling a sense of waxing. Every exhale, feeling a sense of waning. Coming into a sense of communion with the moon phase of this day, the waning crescent moon. So it's that last bit of breath in your exhale before you're fully empty. And with this, I invite you to drop even deeper and picture yourself in a safe space. Picture that you are being held at this time by your parents standing behind you. Regardless of what relationship you may have with your parents at this time, really just feeling the ancestral support of your parents behind you. Picture that your mother is on the left. Picture that your father is on the right. Really feeling that on a soul level, your parents are standing behind you. They have your back as souls. always. From this point, I invite you to feel that behind your parents, and perhaps slightly above, stand their parents. Each of their mothers slightly behind and to the left. Each of their fathers slightly behind and to the right. This is your grandparents standing behind you, having your back, always. And now I invite you to continue in this visualization. Behind your grandparents stand each of their parents. The mothers on the left, the fathers on the right. Behind your great-grandparents stand their parents. And on and on and on. Feeling all of these ancestors at your back, supporting you, loving you, in service to you, always, as souls. Now I invite you to come back to your breath. Feel your inhale. Feel your exhale. With your inhale, I invite you to feel that you are breathing in the wisdom of your ancestral lineage. And as you exhale, exhale as an offering of gratitude to your ancestors. Every inhale taking in the wisdom of your ancestors. Every exhale, offering gratitude. Feeling your breath as communion with your ancestors. With loving gratitude. From this place, I invite you to call forth a benevolent ancestor. It may be someone that you know. It may be someone that you know of. It may be someone that is a mother or father or grandfather, and it may be someone else. Call forth the soul of a benevolent ancestor. Whether it's someone you know or not. And feel that this being is arriving before you. Staying with your breath, inhaling a wisdom, exhaling gratitude. And I invite you to ask this ancestor if they have a message for you. It might be an image, a symbol, a sound. It might even be a smell, or just a feeling, a sense of knowing. What is the message that this ancestor has for you? And when you feel that you have received the message, I invite you to offer a sense of gratitude to this ancestor. And feel that they are returning to have your back at all times. And that you can call forth this energy anytime you may need it. And I'm inviting you to scan through your ancestral lineage for any other benevolent ancestor. It may be one being, it may be more than one being. Feel into any being that pings you in your lineage. Feel that they come before you. Breathe with each being that pings you. Inhaling in their wisdom. Exhaling a sense of gratitude. Asking them if they have a message for you, however it may arise. Offering a sense of gratitude for the message that you receive. If you're feeling complete with this process, then I invite for you to turn to your ancestors and to bow on the etheric in gratitude. Knowing that you carry their wisdom and their remembrance with you. Knowing that you have the opportunity to commune with these ancestors anytime through this visualization and through your breath. And then I invite you to come back to your body and to feel your belly once again, inhaling and exhale. And allow your eyes to let in a little bit of light to start to come back into this space, here and now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexis. Wow, what a deep, profound journey. What a ritual. I received many images and feelings. I would love to open it up and offer the chat as a place to share. If you received anything, it could have been, like she said, simply a feeling, a symbol, an image. Could have been a direct phrase or message. And whatever arose is wonderful. And just to share that medicine, if it's in your joy, to be witnessed, to be honored for whatever you received. Terry received a very strong message. Don't give up. For the one. Blessed be. Thank you, Terry. Sylvia, good to feel you in your presence, says, I'm really grateful to be in the spiral circle with the brother of my heart, Rick, here, who's here too, connecting with Beaver, Maple Tree, Polar Bear, and Dralicorn. It's like the unicorn and the dragon. And these relatives too are multidimensional, magical relatives. Blessings to that. Ellen received a clear message to keep cooking up your magic. Aho, for the one. What if, just for fun, we started to put beautiful spells into the food we cook while we're cooking it, whispering sweet nothings into our soups? I love you, thank you, bless you, as we sprinkle in the seasonings. Cynthia says, I received from my great grandmother to be in lightness of being by dancing through life. So good. Blessed be this medicine, this wisdom. So great. Scott said, I love this experience today. Thank you, Alexis and Eden. You're so welcome, Scott. I wonder about your mom and dad and maybe other benevolent ancestors that you might have connected to and felt, even if it's just an emotion. Our emotions are powerful, powerful compasses for us. Yeah. Beautiful. Alexis says she received a vision of weaving and a message to remember the old ways, especially on the physical plane. Receiving that wisdom for the one. And Scott says, yes, it was interesting to imagine the ancestors going back that far. I heard something, and I'm not sure about this math, but in fairly few generations back, I think it's 7, there could be 1,000+ people as our ancestral fractal. It's like 7 generations back, you've got a big team already, like really, really big. It gets up there very, very quickly. Alexis, you have that kind of brain. You could do that math. Yay. Sylvia says she was on her phone in the kitchen drawing these energies into the food she was preparing at the beginning of the call. Wonderful. Yes, this has been such a rich call, and a lot of that richness comes from you. Thank you for all your shares, from being such a big part of this circle and sharing your hearts and your wisdom and your words. This is one of my favorite things to do. And we want to take you a little bit deeper into magic before the end of this call to help you really recognize your magic. Alexis, you want to give them the transmission on magic? Let's bring you back in. Oh, actually, can I say one thing? It's a brief, like, Tonisha just private messaged me. I'm offering a free gift today, actually 2. So for all of you beautiful beings who are here live, I wanted to offer a deepening Samhain ritual manual, a little layout of things that you can connect to this time of the year. So Tanisha, will you pop into the chat the Samhain ritual PDF for everyone? It's really lovely. Just to feel some of the magic and energy before we take you deeper into magic. You don't need to look through the whole thing now, but as this portal is going to ripple through the next couple days, you can be using this. And then there's another gift for you, which is that I decided to gift a code to everyone who's here that wishes to receive a really, really large discount on any of my courses that I have already created. Any of the evergreen self-study courses that I've created on my website, I wish to gift them to you at 50% off, that you can have that gift for the holidays, that it serve your life and your consciousness. So Tanisha's going to put both the offering. Oh, she already, Tanisha, did you pop okay, so this code is Amadora, capital Amadora. And that's a coupon code for you as a gift from my heart. And then if you later copy the link, those are all my evergreen courses on my website. There's more in the Living Temple portal, which we might offer as well by the end of the call, that link to the portal, which is a gift in itself. It's a free online community off of Facebook. And it's a Mighty Networks group called the Living Temple, with lots of beauty, lots of divine feminine beauty and magic and wisdom to also weave your own and your own shares and be witnessed in. Tanisha, we didn't talk about also sharing that, but I think that's a really beautiful gift. We can share the link to the Living Temple portal. And she says the other gift is still loading. So she'll grab that and pop it in the chat. So stay tuned. All right, this is to help you increase your connection to your magic, both what Alexis is about to transmit and these gifts. Yay. All right, Alexis, back to you.
Thanks. So Starhawk says that magic is the art of changing consciousness at will. And I know we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of this call already, but there's this tradition at this time of year as dressing up and pretending to be a magical being. And I just really want to offer this invitation for you to truly embody a magical being. Magic is not a trick. It is not just for Halloween. Magic is a lens of perception. It's a way of looking at the world. Real magic is really about embracing your true essence and infinite possibility. So today, on the eve of Samhain, I invite you to really step into your magic. So I'm here to ask you this initiatory question. What is the magic that you have come to give and presence in this lifetime? What is your magic? Please feel free to share it in the chat. I know for myself, the magic that I have really come here to share is pure authenticity, just being completely real with whatever is real without faking it.
Ooh, ding to that. I could speak to my magic too.
Please do.
So I sense that my magic is the love that I connect to and see in others from an innocent heart, that I can really see people's essence. I can really see their beauty, and I can mirror it back to them at a very, very strong, very high octave of mirroring that seems to sometimes really help the old stories dissolve. So that's some of my magic that I'm grateful to be carrying.
Blessed be. Carol says, love is my magic. Witnessing you. Terry's magic is healing with compassion. Cynthia's magic is joy and beauty. Sylvia shares that her magic is embodying radiance. Nina says, joy and laughter is my magic. Beautiful. Carol says, I share my ability to share the magic of our world around us and the human body we dwell in. Beautiful. Rick says, my magic is playing with ether. Ellen says, my magic is holding safe and sacred space to release trauma and limiting beliefs. Also, safety in being fully in your unique creativity. Blessed be. Jim says, I share my experience in the depth of my heart and soul. And I just want to invite, as we're deepening with this inquiry, just really feel for yourself if there's something that's in the way, especially if you haven't shared. Is there something in the way of you sharing your magic? Is there something that you need to shed? Something to burn in this ceremonial fire that we evoked as we started this ceremony, to make room or give permission for you to fully embrace your magic? What will it take for you to really unleash your gifts and your magic? Feel free to name that.
Thank you for that deepening. So important to get real. What might be blocking your magic? And, we're not going to go deep down the rabbit hole into all our fears and stories right now. It's mostly for you to see it, for you to embrace that fearful part with love and bring a little bit more of this creative spark of magic back to that part, to hold that part with so much love that it begins the great inner alchemy. Yes.
Dia Therese says, magic as a lens of perception allows my natural curiosity about what makes a person light up.
Yeah, Alexis, since we are going a little bit longer today, I'm going to say that instead of we doing a long share, we'll read everything that's blocking our magic because we're in a really high frequency space now, that you consider writing it in your journal and bringing it deep into the heart, into the prayer, and maybe doing a little ritual of release in that bonfire, whether that be in a bowl or burn it and drop it into your toilet, whatever you need to do, that you do a ritual of release around this piece that until now you have believed is in the way of your magic. For it is truly, like we said, the spells that we speak. And if we believe it so, then so it is. As viewed, so appears. So this is a high ceremonial time to do some practical magic by taking that which you may recognize until now has been blocking your magic that you named, and to start releasing it, transmuting it, alchemizing it with love and intention. So let's just do a little fun ritual around that. Here, here, now, now, all things are possible. With me. Here, here, now, now, all things are possible. 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 Poof! The fairies are near this time of year. Call on them to work with you in that ritual of release, raising our frequency, quickening, quickening. Send our troubles all to flight. Burn them in thy sacred fires. Replace them with our heart's desires. Time to descend the place within for renewal and growth. We touch the place of oneness. We seek to embody the goddess and the goodness of all her power, beauty, strength, wisdom. We follow our heart's desires through the dark nights of winter. And in this inner fire, we remember all is full of love. And so, my beloveds, we're going to complete with a beautiful song that I want to invite you to sing with me. Muted, please, because Zoom still hasn't mastered the harmonic resonance and timing for us to sing out loud together. I love people still sharing their magic. Carol, I'm honoring your poetry. It's your magic and your joy. And Adora, her magic is dancing with joy, seeing beauty in all. We're burning all judgment and comparison as we share our magics. Yes, 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 our magics. Let's sing now to lift this to the one, to feel that we are here together. I was going to sing a very pretty well-known witchy song that I think it's a Starhawk chant, but I feel like the song I sang in the very beginning is relevant too. So let's sing that together. Alexis, can you pop the lyrics for We All Come from the Goddess into the chat? Here we go. We can do it call and response. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return, like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. With me again. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Hoof and horn, hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, corn and grain, all that dies shall rise again. And again with me. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that dies shall rise again. Let's put those two verses together one last time and just feeling our shared heart, this shared joy, this shared presence for the one. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that dies shall rise again. Beautiful, beloveds. This has been so juicy, so fun. Alexis, I'm going to bring you back in, and I'm going to come back in together one last time. Thank you, Alexis, for such an awesome shared ritual and ceremony and offering. And is there anything that you want to share? Are you going to be doing your moon circles in the new year? Are you going to start that again?
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Coming soon. Do you have any like wait list or link or anything for people to see or a site?
Good question. It's not quite up yet. Well, yeah, let's say that. It's not quite up yet, but it will be moon with 3 O's circle.com.
Okay, so when that's ready, you just ping me and I'll share it with the list, with my whole list, okay? So we can spread the joy and
Thank you.
the magic even more. So everyone, just bowing to you on this day. Thank you so much. Let's bring our hands one last time to our hearts, our sacred hearts, and lift this to the one heart for all beings. May all beings awaken and recognize this light we share. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and here we are burning bright together through the dark nights. Blessed be to the one heart. Whoosh! Only love. Mwah. Bye for now. You're so